Most of my career, people have come to me for female anthems. If you want something sassy, you want something for the kids that everybody's gonna be like, it's a bop, you're coming to me. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I love, actually. It's something about writing something that is empowering. I think that those are the things that I come, strong with. And also those are the trends that we see. Definitely, I didn't know the process behind writing with people, because I was very used to, I think like any creative, just kind of working on my own in my bedroom. It was, I'm recording everything, I'm producing everything, I'm writing everything, singing everything, because that's all you have before you start meeting your collaborators. Then I used to do iChat sessions with my best friend, who's Leon Thomas. We grew up together and we were both learning Logic around the same time. So we would just kind of do what we're kind of doing now with Zoom sessions, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, so now I'm in the studio with Babyface and Leon, and we are collaborating in a different way. Now there's 3 people in one room. So I think it continues to evolve as you just learn more of the circumstances in the job, I was more timid, I think, in the beginning, because I was lucky enough to be in a room with legendary people, you know what I mean? And so it was really me being a sponge and listening, and then eventually getting up the confidence to be like, oh, I have this good idea, and maybe it sucks or maybe it's great, but either way, that was the start of it all, is really understanding that I had ideas worth sharing, which turned into my ability to be able to translate that into music. Anytime I do a song, it's TaylaMade, right? So I tailor it for your experience, right? So sometimes people do lyric first, sometimes people do melody first, whatever that experience is best for you. But it always starts off with, how was your day? Who do you love right now? Who do you hate right now? And it really is a therapy session for me in the way that I approach music. It really is being like, okay, what are we talking about today? And it has to be something that I feel like it could only have come from you, and that's where I found a lot of my songs have their biggest success, when it's with an artist that people are finding out more about them in that song than sometimes they do from their Instagram, you know what I mean? So whether we're talking about Thank You Next, or High Hopes for Panic at the Disco, or Alicia Keys in Common, or Mariah Carey when we did Infinity, and that was about her divorce. So there's a lot of these moments, that it really is just, how can I translate what I'm experiencing, being with you and hearing your story and hearing your emotions, and get the world to relate to that. So it's based off of their emotions every single time. When I'm doing my own albums, usually the process is very different, because it's happening every single day in very small ways. So it's looking back on it and making sure that I'm taking note of how do I feel. Versus when I'm writing for another artist, it's very, very focused on hitting that bullseye. The bullseye being your honest emotions. This, when I'm doing in my own stuff, it's more so just being like, what are the little nook and crannies in my mind trying to say, and allowing them to come out without giving a structure. The easiest part that comes for me is the melody. Usually I know what the next chord is and I haven't heard it yet. I listen to a lot of just really beautiful melodies, the Babyfaces, the Brian McKnights, and they had incredible lyrics as well, but I've always been the person who listened to melody first and then lyrics second. But then they would pull me into rooms where they felt like, okay, you need to do the lyric on this one, because we're trying to approach it from this perspective and we have these kind of melodies already. And then it was like, okay, well, I'm going to work on my weakness. So sometimes people pull me in specifically for that now, but it's only because if you can get the things that you don't like to do usually out of the way, it's everything else is like, okay, this is a cakewalk. There's never been a song that I would keep for myself that I've even thought about selling. You know what I mean? But I can only do that because I know who I am. So finding that, because it does change over time, it's tough for a lot of people. And it also it's the ego thing, differentiating like, oh, is this song gonna be big on this artist, or would it actually not be as big on a massive artist and blow up a new artist? Those are something that nobody knows, you know what I mean? But you do have to know who you are to decide whether this song would be better on you or somebody else, because they're not gonna be able to tell you. You're gonna end up giving away something that was you if you don't know who you are, and then be bitter about the fact that it blows up on somebody else. But if it blows up on somebody else, then it wasn't meant for you anyway. So you know what I mean? It's one of those things that you just have to kind of go for it and believe in it enough. When it comes to the TaylaMade Paak, I wanted to have those sounds that were unique, sounds that I know would inspire great top lines, because that's what I'm looking for when I'm going through Splice. You know, it's all about finding the right start, you know, and that's going to tell you a lot about where you're going to be going in the session. So when it came to, okay, what kind of sounds do I want to have? And of course it had to be TaylaMade sounds, you know what I mean? And we had a lot of fun just kind of putting it together and just really revisiting an entire catalog of just sounds, you know, over the years. My music, if you listen to it, even the music that I've written for other people over the years, has always grabbed from different genres, but done so in a way that's, oh, this just seems fresh. You know what I mean? So I want to see more of that, more of people experimenting, more of people just kind of doing whatever it is that is true to you, because eventually it works.